Huh? What the fudge? My car is supposed to be right here. This is where I parked it last night. Right here. It's been towed. So what do I do now? I gotta go and get it out of trouble and pay a fine. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Konstantin and welcome to Inside Russia, where I tell you how it is to be living in today's Russia. I give you the bad, the good and the ugly. And today it's pretty ugly. Well, unpleasant, very unpleasant at least. If you guys are returning viewers, then thank you so much. You're awesome and you rock. Please keep on coming back for more, but please don't come back for when my car is towed. Last night I came back late and I parked in the wrong spot. Well, I kinda park there all the time, to be honest with you. And this was the first time today when I saw that anyone's car has been towed from there, and happened to be me. That's first time for everything, I guess. My fault, you know, I'm not blaming anyone, but what do I do now? In Moscow, this procedure of getting your car back from a tow parking lot is fairly simple and fairly straightforward. All this towing business belongs to the government and is run by the government. Go figure. In Moscow, there are a few huge parking lots where all the cars that are towed are brought to. They get towed there and they're just stored there until claimed by owners. And owners learn that they don't have the cars anymore fairly quick. They call a special number and they're given the location of the parking lot. And usually it's the parking lot closest to you because it makes sense. The tow trucks drive to, you know, the closest parking lots. I came to pick my car. I found it not being there. I called that special number and I was given the location of the parking lot. Now I am to take a cab to that parking lot. It's about 7 miles away from me. The cab's gonna cost me about $8 and I have to bring proof of ownership. You know, we call it the technical passport of the car, insurance, and my driver's license. And you know what the worst part is? It's my wife's car. Ouch. So let's get the paperwork, get a cab, drive to the parking lot, pay the fines, and get the car back. And I am taking you with me along all the way and show you what the hassle that is for your car to be towed. So you don't make that same mistake in Moscow. How do I get to the neighboring town? I don't have the car now, obviously it's locked up in the parking lot. My only option is to take a cab, and that's about 10, perhaps 15 because of the traffic now, $15. But this is where I am going to teach you a lesson in the importance of Russian communities. Now, you've heard of importance of communities around you. Pinball Preparedness speaks volumes on this topic, and he's absolutely right. But if being a part of a community in other countries helps, in Russia it's a matter of survival, because we don't live by ourselves here. We cannot succeed by ourselves, and it's really difficult to survive by ourselves. We are part of communities, and the communities are different. Some are small, some are big, some are tight, and some are not so tight, loose. For example, family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, all communities all around us. And now one of my communities is getting involved to help me out. To get my car back, I must take cabs at least twice. First to get into the cops HQ, and then to come back. That will cost me, at this time of day, probably around $30. And it's not going to be very convenient because, you know, I wait for a cab, I get there, I release the cab. After I'm done with the paperwork, I have to, you know, catch another cab, and just not convenient. But I live in an apartment building, a tower. We have about 150 families and we know most of one another. We have a common chat in Telegram, and I just asked if anyone could give me a ride to the neighboring town and then come back, and all of a sudden 3 people volunteered. So one of my neighbors is going to pick me up in 15 minutes and take me there and then take me back. And that's the power of community. But to return a favor, I'm gonna give my neighbor this little present. In this box right here, there is a finest Russian luxury vodka. I'm going to give it to my neighbor as a way of thanking him for going out of his way and helping me out, giving me the ride. You know, my neighbor is showing his attitude. He kind of virtually says, hey buddy, I'm not gonna leave you hanging when you have a problem. In times of troubles, you know, I come to the rescue and help you out. And we all expect that people, when people do that for us, we all expect that we do the same thing for them. Meanwhile, this right here is MAGARITCH. In Russian we call it MAGARITCH, Magar. If someone does something nice to you, you don't leave it unattended. You come back with something, a small gift. Usually it's alcohol, but not necessarily. Something one could eat or drink or use it in an everyday life. This is not so much a gift as a way of showing your thank you, your attitude. So this is what I'm gonna give my neighbor just in a few minutes. Let's go. Now, I'm really bummed out, of course, because the whole ordeal gonna cost me 130 bucks. And you know, I could use 130 bucks someplace else. I parked at that spot all the time, and the local cops always close their eyes. Silent pack, they were saying, hey, there isn't too much parking, so you guys can park there. You know, we're not gonna touch you. And all of a sudden, boom. So this is my neighbor, and he's taking me. Set to come back in 10 minutes. Take number 2. This is a real police station. The road patrol officer came, took my paperwork, and I guess doing the paperwork for me, writing me fines and everything. Needless to say, I feel really uneasy filming here. Paperwork, you know. I'm leaving this place $100 lighter. You know, believe it or not, but overall, visiting Russian police station was not too bad of experience. The cop who was giving me paperwork, you know, he was actually nice. He was helpful, and he felt sorry for me having to, you know, having to pay the fine. That's my neighbor right there. Great guy, gave me a ride. So my next stop is this wonderfully lit and brand newly built place. This is the management office for this parking lot. I filled out all the paperwork and I'm off to pick up my car. cow. It's one huge place. Куда идти?
А вас не здесь ли машина? Не видите свою в первом ряду?
Вижу. This is the car. It's sealed off completely. See, these are personal seals by the person who was evacuating it. We call it in Russia as evacuating. It's really clothing. It's evacuated. Now I have to make sure that the car doesn't have any damages. Look around and see for myself. These seals mean that no one got inside of the car. You know, wasn't scratched or anything. Looks okay. Some cars are literally wrapped in shrink wrap tape. Looks like I'm getting my car back. Well, before I leave, I would like to drive around this huge parking just a tiny little bit. I guess these cars are abandoned, the ones that are snowed in, and these are the fresh victims. Look, these cars are shrub ringed. Looks like a prison more than a parking lot. Какой вам? So I just gave the guy this paperwork. He's reading it. The prison door is opening and we both are leaving. Yahoo! Well, guys and girls, it's good to be a free man again. Goodbye. 5 hours later and $130 later, I'm back home. This experience, I just want to go home, have some warm borscht and a shot of vodka with a little bit of salo, lard. Lessons learned? There aren't any lessons learned today. The cop, even the cop who was doing my paperwork, was apologetic and he felt sorry. He said, you know, the only reason we towed your car was we had to respond to a complaint. There was a private citizen, well, my dear Russian fella, walking by my car and he didn't like something about it. And the cop said, listen, you were parked in the gray area, like we were going back and forth and we had no problem with it, but we had to respond to the complaint of that person. So they had to tow it. So I do not frequent Russian police stations and I don't see cops up close and personal that often. But I was very surprised today. I actually saw real people, decent people. Unbelievable. You live, you learn. They weren't cops, they were actually just folks. Okay, and then it's good to know. Anyway, thanks for being with me, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.